Nightline begins now with me, Sabrina Zainal. News making the headlines. Samsung SDI to develop new 7 billion ringgit battery facility in Negeri Sembilan. And 30 government projects to be shelved. Good morning. We begin with this story. South Korea's battery and electronic materials manufacturer Samsung SDI Co. Limited, through its unit Samsung SDI Energy Malaysia Sendirian Berhad SDIEM, is developing a 7 billion ringgit plant in Negeri Sembilan to pioneer the electric vehicle EV battery cell industry in the country. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the new factory will create 1,300 job opportunities for locals.
Pembangunan kilang baru fasa 2 ini akan melibatkan 7 bangunan baru serta tambahan stesen sub-elektrik 132 kV. Kilang baru ini yang dijangka mula beroperasi pada tahun 2025 nanti akan mampu untuk menghasilkan sebanyak 800 juta sel bateri setahun.
Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said this when officiating the groundbreaking ceremony for the factory, which was broadcast via video recording in Seremban on Thursday. He also expressed his appreciation for the role played by the South Korean company in developing industries based on green technology, which was in line with the country's goal of becoming a carbon-neutral nation by 2050, as outlined in the 12th Malaysia Plan. The Prime Minister also said for Malaysia, the industry was important in terms of its contribution to the overall comprehensive EV ecosystem. As at May 2022, Samsung SDI has invested a total of 3.8 billion ringgit in Samsung SDIEM, while contributing 2.5 billion ringgit to Malaysia's annual export rate. Implementation of some 30 projects involving a cost of about 100 million ringgit have been identified to be shelved. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Economy, Datuk Seri Mustafa Mohamad, said this followed engagement sessions with the Finance Ministry, Works Ministry, the Economic Planning Unit and Implementation Coordination Unit of the Prime Minister's Department and the Public Works Department last Tuesday.
Kecil saja bilangannya. Jadi seperti saya sebutkan tadi, projek-projek yang belum diiklankan, belum apa-apa pun ada persiapan, ya, itu kriterianya. Jadi sesi lebah urus akan berurusan minggu hadapan, seperti sebut jawapan tadi, EPU, MOF, ICU dan juga JKR akan mengadakan pertemuan semua kementerian, ya, untuk memastikan bahawa mana-mana yang perlu untuk menjamin kesejahteraan rakyat.
Datuk Seri Mustafa said this during the minister's question time in the Dewan Rakyat on Thursday. He added that high-impact projects such as the MRT Circle Line, MRT3, the East Coast Rail Link Project, ECRL, and the Pan-Borneo Highway would continue as planned. This year, a total of 7,243 development projects with a total allocation of 75.6 billion ringgit had been approved for implementation. Meanwhile, at another event, Datuk Seri Mustafa assured that the austerity measures announced by the government will not affect development projects that have been approved. He stressed that continuous development is important to generate the economy, ensuring that Malaysia will be able to achieve the economic growth forecast of 5.3 to 6.3% this year.
Projek dapat LA diteruskan, yang tender akan diteruskan. Ini projek-projek yang belum dirancang. Jadi kesan domino tak bangkit. Yang pertama tak bangkit kerana ini projek belum diiklan, belum ada perancangan. Yang keduanya bilangannya kecil, belum mula. Jadi kesan knock on ataupun sampingan tidak bangkit.
He said this to reporters after launching Gemilang, a training program by Google in Kuala Lumpur. On another matter, Datuk Seri Mustafa said so far the proposal to cut the salaries and allowances of ministers and senior government officials to reduce public spending has not been discussed. The minister reportedly said previously that development projects under the 12th Malaysia Plan for 2022 will be reviewed as part of new austerity measures to optimize government spending. The Dewan Rakyat on Thursday passed the Poisons Amendment Bill 2022 unanimously, allowing for heftier penalties and strengthened control with regards to the use of poisons and psychotropic substances. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said the general penalties for offences have been raised from up to 10,000 ringgit fine or 4 years jail or both to a maximum 100,000 ringgit fine or 5 years imprisonment or both.
Memastikan pihak industri dan profesional kesihatan meliputi ahli farmasi, pengamal perubatan, pengamal pergigian dan doktor veteriner bertanggungjawab dan beraccountability dalam industri yang melibatkan pengendalian racun dan juga bahan psikotropik. Kedua, menjamin keselamatan dan kesihatan rakyat serta alam sekitar.
According to Khairi, the existing punishment was not enough to prevent repeat offenders from committing the same act or deter others from similar offences. The amendments also grant enforcement officers with the authority to conduct inspection and investigation, as well as searching premises and seizing any materials that violate the Poisons Act. It also prohibits people from recovering the cost of damages from entry, search or seizure unless such enforcement actions were made without reasonable cause. The Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry is prepared to cooperate with the Health Ministry in addressing the shortage of medicines in the country. Its Minister, Datuk Sri Alexander Nanta Linggi, said on Thursday both ministries will discuss and determine whether control measures need to be introduced to resolve the issue.
Ini memang kita sepatutnya bekerjasama dengan Kementerian Kesihatan, ya, sebab ubat-ubatan ini dia berlainan dengan barang-barang keperluan yang lain, ya. Jadi kita sentiasa bersedialah untuk bekerjasama dengan agensi ataupun Kementerian Kesihatan.
Datuk Sri Nanta added that his ministry too had received complaints on the shortage of medicines, especially at pharmacies. However, the number was still low. On another matter, he urged the country's industry players to reduce the price of cooking oil in tandem with the drop in the world's crude palm oil price from its highest level since 2 months ago. He pointed out that the price of cooking oil would change in accordance with the crude palm oil price, with the world market price going up or down.
Now, who's our guest this week? He started as a consultant engineer in Australia in 1989. He received the Outstanding Property CEO Award in 2015. Above all, he has 30 years of experience in the property development industry. Eco World Malaysia's Datuk Chang Kim Wah speaks to Money Matters on how to stay relevant to the needs of the market. This Saturday at 5 p.m, only on TV3.
Menara berkembar 88 tingkat siap dibina dalam tempoh 4 tahun. Tetapi Pasar Baru Raja But 11 tahun menunggu. Masih tak siap.
Ada di kalangan peniaga tempatan ni dah meninggal lah. Dia tak sempat nak menikmati gerai yang patut dia dapat.
Kontraktor pun dah berapa banyak kontraktor yang lari. Sedih jugalah, rancangan yang baik tapi tiba-tiba tak ada apa.
Laporannya dalam Aduan Rakyat Sabtu dan Ahad ini di TV3.
A comprehensive master plan for border control will be implemented by the Home Ministry to combat cross-border criminal activities, including human trafficking. Its Minister, Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin, said through the plan, the assets of all security agencies would be combined to ensure better and more effective control at the national borders.
Kita telah umumkan bahawa kita akan ada single border agency. Yang ketiga, kita akan menggunakan teknologi yang terkini untuk kita memastikan border kita ini boleh kita gunakan teknologi ini untuk mengawal keluar masuknya mereka yang ada dalam negara.
Datuk Sri Hamzah said this in a press conference in Putrajaya on Thursday when commenting on measures to be taken by the government following the report that Malaysia has remained in the lowest tier of the U.S. Trafficking in Persons Report 2022 for the second consecutive year. In the report, it was revealed that the government failed to meet the minimum standards on efforts to stop human trafficking. However, Datuk Sri Hamzah noted that it was subjective reporting and also took into account various perceptions on Malaysia's efforts in tackling human trafficking. trafficking. He also pointed out the report was influenced by actions taken by employers who abuse and exploit their workers by withholding their passports, making them work illegally, not paying wages, and not providing suitable accommodation. He added that his ministry and the Council for Anti-Trafficking in Persons, MAPO, were committed to preserving the rights of victims of human trafficking and have ensured that stern action are taken against those directly involved or abetting the crime. Malaysia is actively promoting the Langkawi International Maritime and Aerospace Exhibition, LIMA 2023, during the Farnborough International Airshow FIA 2022, which is taking place in Farnborough, United Kingdom this week. Joint organisers, the Defence Ministry and Transport Ministry, announced that some 30% of exhibition space has already been taken up by local and international players from both the defence and commercial segments, with an anticipation of another 20% by the end of the FIA event. TV3 correspondent Haliza Hashim reports from Farnborough, United Kingdom.
LIMA 2023 will be held from May 23rd to 27th next year in Langkawi Island, and Malaysia has kick-started its 10th-month promotion campaign at FIA 2022 this week. Seen as a vital platform, the FIA is a biennial trade show for the aerospace and defence industries, attended by aerospace giants such as Airbus, Boeing, Lockheed Martin and BAE Systems. Both the Defence and Transport Ministries foresee LIMA 2023 will break all previous records and achieve an upward trajectory in numbers. They also expect the participation of some 600 exhibitors from nearly 30 nations.
Satu adalah kualiti pemamer tersebut, sama ada mereka datang daripada konglomerat ataupun company-company yang besar yang ada pengaruh berkenaan tentang apa yang mereka nak pamer dan juga apa yang mereka boleh jual kepada orang yang akan datang di situ. Kualiti pameran tersebut bergantung kepada organisasi sesuatu syarikat yang organizer ini, di mana mereka boleh ke memberi satu pameran yang bertaraf antarabangsa.
Several key features planned for LIMA 2023 include the Regional Airline CEO Forum, which gathers the leadership of the top airlines in the region to deliberate and discuss future trends in the travel industry. The Drone Technology Zone will also become one of the anchor highlights of LIMA 2023.
Uniknya LIMA pada tahun ini ialah tema drone ini akan diperkenalkan secara pertama kali di Langkawi. Walaupun sebelum ni kita ada pempamer drone, Malaysia adalah penyedia perkhidmatan berkenaan dengan drone yang terbesar di dunia. Dan ini banyak memberikan peluang-peluang bukan saja kepada syarikat-syarikat tempatan tetapi syarikat-syarikat luar untuk bekerjasama.
LIMA is the only event showcasing both the maritime and aerospace industries serving the Asia-Pacific region. To ensure a smooth running of the event, the Defence Ministry will champion the defence and security elements, while the Transport Ministry will promote the commercial segment for the maritime and aerospace industries, which is estimated to comprise 40% of LIMA 2023. Haliza Hashim, TV3, Farnborough.
Tory contenders battle for Conservative votes in UK leader race. News from the Foreign Front when we return. Welcome back. The two candidates vying to become Britain's next Prime Minister began a head-to-head battle Thursday for the votes of Conservative Party members who will choose the country's new leader. Former Treasury Chief Rishi Sunak is promising fiscal prudence, while Foreign Secretary Liz Truss is offering immediate tax cuts to members of the right-wing governing party, which is divided and demoralized after 3 turbulent years under departing Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Only about 180,000 Conservative Party members have a vote in choosing the country's next leader. Sunak and Truss were chosen Wednesday by Conservative lawmakers, whittled down from an initial field of 11 candidates as finalists to replace Johnson, who quit as party leader on July 7th after months of ethics scandals. He remains Prime Minister until his successor is chosen. The result of the party leadership contest is due on September 5th, and that person automatically becomes Britain's next Prime Minister. Over in Italy, Prime Minister Mario Draghi resigned on Thursday after efforts to bring the country's fractious parties to heel failed, kicking off a snap election campaign which could bring the hard right to power. The internationally respected 74-year-old formally handed his resignation to President Sergio Mattarella, whose role now is to guide the country out of the crisis. Political analysts foresee that Mattarella is likely to dissolve parliament and call early elections for September or October. Draghi may stay on as head of the government until then. Based on current polls, a rightist alliance led by Giorgia Meloni's post-fascist Brothers of Italy party would comfortably win a snap election. Sri Lanka's 6-time Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe was sworn in Thursday as president of the crisis-hit South Asian nation, as officials said he was looking to form a unity government to manage the turmoil. The 73-year-old veteran politician, who was overwhelmingly elected as head of state in a parliamentary vote Wednesday, took his oath of office before Chief Justice Jayanta Jaya Surya. However, live coverage of the swearing-in at the tightly guarded Parliament complex was cut off just as Wickremesinghe and his wife Maitri walked into the building after reviewing a military parade. Official sources said he was expected to shortly form a cabinet not exceeding 30 ministers to steer the country out of its worst economic crisis since gaining independence from Britain. Wickremesinghe was due to hold his first official meeting with military brass and the police chief at the Defense Ministry Thursday to discuss the security environment. sports now. Qualifier Juan Pablo Varillas knocked number 3 seed Roberto Bautista Agut out of the Swiss Open Gstaad on Thursday, winning their rain-interrupted second-round match in straight sets. Having lost the first set, Bautista Agut served to stay in the match at 5-4 down in the second as rain started to fall on Wednesday and play was suspended after the Spaniard held serve. One more game was completed, Varillas taking a 6-5 lead before the rain returned, but the Peruvian broke serve upon Thursday's resumption to win 7-6, 7-5. In another match, former champion Dominic Thiem advanced to the quarterfinals with a straight sets win over Federico Delbonis on Thursday. Thiem, who picked up the first of his 3 career wins over Delbonis on the way to clinching the Gstaad title in 2015, failed to seal the first set from 5-2 up, but saved 2 set points in the ensuing tiebreak and went on to win it 8-6. The Austrian forced 2 breaks of Argentine Delbonis' serve in the second set and claimed a 7-6, 6-3 victory to set up a quarter-final against Varillas. On to golf. Canada's Brooke Henderson topped the leaderboard after the opening round at the Evian Championship in France on Thursday. The 24-year-old carded a 64 to finish her round on 7 under par, 1 shot ahead of Cheyenne Knight in second place. Yuna Nishimura, Jin Young Ko, and Lydia Ko are in close pursuit in a 3-way tie on 5 under par. Henderson looked back to her best as she fired 1 eagle and 6 birdies in her almost blemish-free round. Coming up after this short break, High Court nay to Queen's Counsel for SRC appeal. Stay tuned. You're still with us on Nightline. Datuk Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak has failed in his bid to appoint Queen's Counsel Jonathan Laidlaw to represent him in his final appeal over the 12-year jail sentence and 210 million ringgit fine in the SRC International Sindir and Berhad case. Kuala Lumpur High Court Judge Dato' Ahmad Kamal Mat Shahid on Thursday dismissed Laidlaw's application to act as advocate and solicitor in the High Court of Malaya. This after the judge ruled that Laidlaw has failed to show that he has special qualifications and experience to handle the charges against the former Prime Minister. Dato' Ahmad Kamal also said the list of issues raised by the appellant's counsel were not exceptional or serious, warranting the ad hoc admission of Laidlaw to be lead counsel for the purpose of the appeal. The judge further said that the application should be dismissed as there are no complex and novel issues that require the interim admission of Laidlaw. On May 31st, Datuk Sri Najib filed the application to allow the QC to represent him in the SRC appeal on several grounds, one of it being Laidlaw possesses special qualifications, experience and expertise which are not available among lawyers in Malaysia. On April 29th, the federal court set 10 days in August to hear Datuk Seri Najib's appeal against his conviction and jail sentence for misappropriation of the company's funds. In Johor, a woman was charged in the Batu Pahat Magistrates Court on Thursday over the death of an 11-year-old girl in Yong Peng last Thursday. No plea was recorded from 34-year-old Semba Kavali when the charge was read out to her before Magistrate Nur Asida A. Rahman. She was accused of murdering her own daughter, N. Mahalechumi, at a house in Taman Bukit Tropika on July 14th. The charge, framed under the Penal Code, provides a mandatory death sentence upon conviction. The court fixed September 13th for mention. Over in Perak, a trailer driver pleaded not guilty in the Ipoh Magistrates Court on Thursday after being charged with driving in a reckless manner that resulted in the death of 4 family members last week. 34-year-old Suhaimi Muhammad Noor claimed trial after the charges were read out to him before Magistrate Noor Hafiza Ishaq, who set August 4th for mention. He was charged with driving a trailer recklessly, which resulted in the death of Rahim Ramli, his wife Siti Patimah Omar, and daughters Noor Nadira and Noor Hamiza, aged from 27 to 60. The offence was allegedly committed on the North-South Expressway on July 13th. The charges, framed under the Road Transport Act, provides imprisonment up to 10 years and a maximum fine of 50,000 ringgit if found guilty. The court granted the accused bail of 8,000 ringgit with one surety on all 4 charges, apart from having his driving license suspended pending completion of the case. Meanwhile, in Pulau Pinang, police busted a drug trafficking syndicate after seizing 300 kilograms of ganja worth 750,000 ringgit, believed to have been smuggled in from Thailand in a raid at a house in Taman Impian, Bukit Bertajam on Saturday. Perlis Police Chief Datuk Surina Saad said slabs of drugs were found hidden in the residence during the raid, which also saw the arrest of a man and an Indonesian woman aged 41 and 37 respectively. According to authorities, the house only served as a transit point for the drugs before being sent to the Klang Valley for distribution, which could be used by 600,000 addicts. It was also believed that the role of the 2 suspects was to keep the drugs at the house rented by the syndicate, which was believed to be smuggling ganja by sea routes. Checks revealed that the couple did not have a marriage certificate, and the woman also did not have any travel documents. Both suspects, however, tested negative for drugs and have no criminal records. The duo have been remanded until July 23rd to assist police investigation under the Dangerous Drugs Act. The pop culture extravaganza that is Comic-Con International is back to its old extravagance. As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look as stars, cosplayers, and hordes of fans fill the San Diego Convention Center in full force for the first time since 2019. With that, I'm Sabrina Zainal. Thank you for watching and stay safe.